I am Mickey Morissette. I'm the publisher and editor of Minnesota Women's Press. We're very glad to kick this off. It's a huge, huge day for us. In addition to it always April celebrating our anniversary as a magazine, we're now in our 39th year. I will honestly say that this has been probably the hardest financial year, harder than pandemic time because we had some support during pandemic. It's been hard, but we're going to get to our 40th anniversary next year, have a huge celebration for 40 years, and then just keep going. So we're doing it. We're going to have a lot to talk about today, and there's amazing people here, and I'm going to try to say as little as possible. So basically what we've been doing about the magazine in January of 2018, what we've been starting to do more and more of is the aspect of, one of the taglines we have is media that makes a difference. Media can just be full of all the day-to-day stories, but everybody in this room knows that there's a lot of healing and trauma and healing that has to be done. There's a lot of trauma, there's a lot of mental health issues, there's housing issues, there's gender-based violence issues, and that requires a lot more from media and storytelling than just day-to-day headlines and then moving on to the next. So everything we've been doing the last couple years has been really focused on the networking that leads to the people that are in this room, leads to some of the stuff we're going to show you and have you take home with you, leads to, especially this year becomes the year of discussions and conversations, taking our amazing content and first-person narratives from our networks and getting them off the page and into conversations around the state. I have started getting around the state, but we're starting to get some funding for that. And the idea is to bring people together because all of the issues that we're talking about here today, they're all interconnected and they're statewide and we need a lot. So, and our role is to help facilitate those conversations so that the people that are working on similar things are connecting and that we're doing this in a very intersectional and intersectional way with a lot of solidarity because we all have the issues we focus on, but again, everything's related. So that's kind of my little quick thing. Earlier this week was actually in Brainerd, met some mental health counselors and social workers at the Crow County Jail. There's an amazing group of women there that are there, they say, to heal. They say, especially because it's a lot of chemical dependency issues, it's a lot of mental health issues that end up in jail. And what they're really trying to do, they said, is it's hard work. They don't get paid very much. But they say when somebody comes in and is really off, they see that within 1 or 2 days, they've kind of decompressed a bit. They apologize for their behavior. They really want to try to get better. And they really need help, and they say we feel like we're making things, we're helping people in our role here at the jail. But there's not enough support for that, as everybody in this room knows. And the conversation I had in Brainerd also included a visit and tour with a domestic violence shelter there, and the work that they're doing there. And it's incredible. I've always talked about the fact that the job I have is amazing. I get to find and talk to all of the people doing amazing things and bring them together. So I'm very excited about today because some of my favorite people from the last few years of stories are here. We're also awarding some of them as Badass Minnesotans. That has been a fun new thing we've started, and next year's going to be a major badass celebration. One of the guys here, Bill Betzler, has been trying to get us to do badass t-shirts so he can give one to his granddaughter. So we're going to do as much as we can, and Ellie Krug has suggested we get a badass bus, travel around the state. So we got all kinds of ideas. Anyway, the other thing I want to mention before we bring Janata Petras up here for a conversation her conversation, I get off stage, is that today is also the funeral of Mary Johnson Roy, and I know a lot of people that were going to be here are at her funeral. She kind of exemplifies, she was in our magazine in 2019, she kind of exemplifies everything about what today's conversation is that's leading to the next year. She's somebody who forgave the killer of her only child. They became part of a package about healing. They traveled around and talked about things. She died recently, her funeral's today, and I just thought I would take a piece from the story we did with her in 2019. It said, more than a decade after her son was killed, Mary Johnson Roy stood in Stillwater Prison hugging O'Shea Israel, the man who murdered him. After Israel left the room, Johnson Roy felt a sensation in her feet. It moved up through her body, then left. I have never, ever in my life felt anything like it before, she says, but I instantly knew that it was over, that I had been delivered, set free from all the animosity, all the anger, all the hatred, all that stuff I had inside me. It was gone. Since his release in 2010, they've spoken about forgiveness at prisons, churches, and conferences all over the country as part of From Death to Life, an organization Johnson Roy founded. From Death to Life also hosts the Two Mothers Healing Groups in Minneapolis for women whose children have been murdered or whose children have taken life. She said, within myself I heard, I want mothers of murdered children and mothers of children that have taken life to come together and heal together. So that's everything that we're starting here today with the people in this room, the people on live stream. It's recorded. We're going to be sharing it in stories over the next year. Really, how to set up conversations and content differently.